Ready?
3,
2, 1, go.
Hey, what's up, 745ers? Welcome back to the 745 Teen Mental Health Podcast. Sky and Sealand, how you guys feeling?
I'm really good.
Really good. Today is a very special episode because we have Mr. Ross Sabo with us.
What's up, everybody?
Do you want to give an introduction of
who you are, what you do?
Sure.
We picked this guy off the street.
Yeah, I was just wandering in the alley. I'm the wellness director at Geffen Academy at UCLA and a founding faculty member. So we created a program for students to learn about mental health once a week, every week, from grade 6 through grade 12. And then outside of my job here, I'm a speaker and an author and a consultant who has been working in mental health advocacy for really over 20 years now, sharing my story and all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
Clap it up.
He's our wellness educator this year.
Yes.
Finally, we get you.
So, so if you hear us talking about, we have mentioned some of the stuff we've learned in your class.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, you know where it's coming from.
Exactly, straight from the source.
Yes. Okay, let's do some highs and lows.
Yeah, do you want to plug your stuff?
I have 2 books. One's called Behind Happy Faces, Taking Charge of Your Mental Health, and the other one is called The Kids Book About Anxiety. A kid's book about anxiety is for younger kids, 5 to 8. Behind Happy Faces is for people of all ages. A kid's book about anxiety is getting translated into 40 different languages and sold internationally.
Oh my gosh.
Because anxiety is so
Wait, you want to know something crazy? My little cousins from Indiana just came to hang out with us for winter break, and I'm pretty sure they have that book in their suitcase. Wait, I forgot that you wrote that.
Yeah. Would you like to go first? Guess the one.
Highs and lows, in my life or day
Just
or
your life.
Life, day, anything.
Oh man, the highs. I have some pretty good highs. I have a new book deal processing. UCLA took the mental health education institute I run in the summer and turned it into a class.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, there's all kinds of cool stuff happening. And then the lows, obviously just dealing with the fires. Dealing with the fallout from all that.
Wait, pause.
Oh.
We can continue. Let me.
Okay. Major TDs, like always. Sorry, guys. We call them TDs at this point because they just happen so often to us. We've had to record so many episodes over, but it's fine. What you guys missed was how Zach and I got back to school, and just kind of how difficult it is to get back into school because of the air quality and everything burning, and just it's awful. And you want to repeat your rapid fire?
Sure.
Or slow it down.
My rapid fire is like I had to evacuate because of the air quality and such, and so I only had 15, or not even 15, probably 10 minutes to just grab everything and go. Partly because I was in the middle of doing homework and I didn't. But anyways, and so after we left, it got me thinking did I grab everything that I need? And then later that I was thinking what should I grab so I'm physically stay comfortable or stable, and mentally stable and comfortable. And so I don't think there was a specific object that made me think oh, this would make me mentally comfortable, but I think knowing that I packed enough, I guess specifically for me clothes, I don't like wearing the dirty clothes or anything, which I don't know, I take my hygiene very seriously. But is there a certain practice or thing that in an emergency people should bring?
And again, we hope to not be in these situations.
Yeah.
What we had been talking about too was a lot of people left their homes thinking they'd get to go back to their home, so they grabbed kind of whatever was essential. A lot of people grabbed their pets or things that were kind of irreplaceable. A lot of people didn't, so it wasn't one thing. The thing that you have to consider is what's something that is irreplaceable. So some photos are digital, you can replace them. Some people have really old family photos that aren't, and you always hear people after fire saying that's what they miss the most is the memories or the things that were so important to their families. Right. Some people might have really valuable things like art or things like that. And it sounds weird, but they want to grab it because they don't have a way to replace it. But I think the comfort piece is so important because the fire creates something that's uncontrollable in your life and you don't have control.
Right.
So there might be small things from your room, small things in your life that like really give you that sense of control and balance, and those are the things that somebody might want to take.
Yeah, for me, well, I don't live in anywhere near the fire. I didn't have to evacuate or anything, but like it was like almost a possibility that we would go somewhere else. And at the time, my parents were like telling me like first record all your stuff for like insurance or whatever, and then also like just have a suitcase ready. And it kind of taught me, this whole like fire situation taught me like, well, a lot of lessons, but one of them most importantly was that like I don't really need that many things. And I think like for the past few years I thought like I needed everything I saw on my phone, and I just wanted it just to have it. But then when it came to the point where I could only pack what I really wanted or really needed or thought was like really important to me, I like looked at my closet and I was like, wow, I don't really need like any of, like I might need a few things, but like I don't need all of this, and I can totally survive without like all of it, and like even my bathroom and all my stuff. So I changed like some of my New Year's resolutions to be like under consumption core.
Well, that's what's been interesting too, is how many people your age are donating their clothes.
Yeah.
Because I think they had moments after that where they were like, actually, I don't even wear any of this.
Yeah.
And now there's so many teenagers
Right.
who just don't have clothes.
I know.
And that is such a scary thing, or just difficult thing to go through, especially between Altadena and the Palisades. Like, it's been inspiring to see how many people in your generation are like, okay, well, I can do this, or I can do this.
That's another thing, like, everyone got together really fast.
Yeah.
Like I remember I was just checking Instagram to like see like how everyone's doing, and just like story after story, it's like, these are the maps, this is what's going on, like this. It was like, I was like, wow, like everyone's on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're just...
Yeah. Well, it was like really beautiful for me to see. Well, I also donated like a bunch of my clothes. I had like old baby clothes, so like I definitely don't need those. But like I had other clothes too that I was just like, wow, like these are like normal-ish clothes that you could wear like whenever. So like more basic things that anyone could wear. So we donated that, and then also just like seeing like food trucks and like people come out and just like be so supportive, and like people buying like water and stuff for everyone was really great. And like the saddest thing I saw, it's a little sad, but like all these like big like churches and stuff would like host all these nursing homes and like have them all there with all their stuff. And I don't know, it was really inspiring to see like all generations, like especially like ours was really stepping up, but like every generation really was like trying to help out and be there for each other. Which, because LA's kind of known as like a hardcore, tough place. Like everyone's like constantly doing stuff, and like we're all dog eat dog, and like just like we're all separate. But like it really showed that we all are actually together.
Yeah, and LA is different because we're in cars and we don't spend a lot of time around each other, whereas like other large cities have good public transportation. So you're seeing each other all the time. And here, a sense of community is often sometimes harder to feel because everyone is like, it's a car culture, not a public transportation culture. So it was good to see that when stuff like this happens, we can come together.
Well, my question was, like, everyone, especially people who have lost their homes, are dealing with kind of, it might not be the most severe, but it's like some sort of trauma. Like, how would you say is like the best way to like respond to that or go about that?
And this trauma is pretty new. Right. So the one thing that's happening right now is a lot of people are still in a state of shock. Yeah. Like, it hasn't even set in the layers and depth of what happened. And so the most difficult thing in that response is you can't tell someone who's in shock they're in shock because they just don't believe you. Yeah. And so the first thing is to remember that this is going to play out over months and maybe even like a year or longer. Mm-hmm. And then any reaction right now or any emotion is okay. Right. So if people are devastated, can't get out of bed, can't do anything, that's okay. If people are seemingly disaffected and just going through the motions, that's okay. If people are angry and lashing out, that's okay. There's no wrong emotion to trauma. Mm-hmm. But the next step after that is to really start trying to find things that are in your control, because this was so far out of your control. And so what are some things you can do? What are some routines you can build? What are some things you can do to try and regain some control in your life, to give you some balance? That's why school is so important. So most of the schools have returned in some fashion. The high school in the Palisades and some of the high schools in Altadena haven't because they are so big. But that school thing is, even if you hate school, it's still a routine.
Yeah.
Still predictability, you still have all these other things. So trying to create that outside of it. And then obviously any coping mechanism that helps.
Well, I kind of asked some similar questions, not that like I had to deal with this, to my therapist, and there was like one thing she said that I think like anyone can do, even if you didn't have to deal with the fires. It's kind of like a whenever you feel like you're really out of control of everything. I don't know what it's called. It's like a circle and a circle and a circle. Maybe you know what it is. But like in the middle of the circle is like things you can control, and the outer side is like semi things that you can kind of control, but like not really. And the outer circle is like what you cannot control, like you probably have no control over it. And just even naming the things out loud of what I can control and what I can't control was really helpful for me. And so if you want to try that, go for it.
The book I'm reading, it's called like Ikigai, like the way to find purpose in life. And like they talk about like first you gotta like manage like your mental health. And I read about this thing called, do you know like Morita therapy? And so it's like recognizing, it's not trying to fight any emotion or like any response. It's just like accepting it. Like they said, I like the example they used. It's like you can't fight a wave with another wave. So you can't fight, if you're frustrated at something, you can't try and fight it because you'll just end up more frustrated because it'll create an infinite sea. Right. Wave fights wave, infinite sea. I really like that. It's like, it is true. Like when I tend to just like recognize, it's like when you recognize that you're feeling an emotion, like any emotion, it sort of like gives you this like almost like astral projection experience where like you can like see like outside of your body and you're like, oh, like you start talking in the third person, like Zach is feeling happy right now. And like you just recognize it and it becomes you less tunneled in. Like if I was angry, then it just like realize like, oh, it's not forever. You know, it's just in the moment. Right. Yeah, and you just accept rather than like fight.
It's very zen.
Yeah, thank you.
The other thing though is that we're keep in mind that after shock comes grief, and there are stages of grief. So, you know, I've already seen a lot of people just move to straight anger, and then there's going to be like, there's denial. There's all kinds of different stages. You don't typically follow them in a linear fashion. So, yeah, all this advice is going to help as people move forward too, because you know, this is really new. This isn't like something that is happening so long ago.
Yeah.
So it's really fresh, and the Santa Clarita fire is still happening right now.
Yeah.
So.
Well, one of the like things like I've heard people say like in a place of anger for sure, it's just like it's so great to see like our community come together and like everyone donating, doing stuff. But she was saying like it's all gonna go away in a few days because like right now we're all back in school and like I don't have time to go out anymore and just like go to places and volunteer. And she was like really mad about that, and I completely get that. And I was wondering what your guys' thoughts on that.
Yeah. I mean, like I don't blame people for like maybe, well, I don't like, is forgetting the right word?
Yeah.
Like I don't blame people for forgetting because, you know, like you said, like routine is important and like getting back into the swing of things. And especially if they're not affected as well, sometimes it can be harder to sort of like relate or like empathize, yeah. But I also like, it's also just something good to like keep in mind. Because I mean, at the same time, you don't want to stress yourself out, but it's also, of course, always great to lend your help and when you can.
There's also a lot of long-term organizations focused on this, so it's not just like people showing up. So like FEMA is doing that long-term response. There's state resources that are doing long-term response. There's disaster recovery centers for people to get vital records, to figure out how to get rent, to like talk to insurance companies, to get protection. The Red Cross is obviously going to continue this. And, you know, the initial phase of the shock is, all right, how can we get people settled? There's still people living in shelters. There's still people trying to figure out, like, where they're going to live. And once that kind of slows down, you'll still see campaigns and help. But, yeah, we do live in a quick fix world that tends to rally immediately. Some of that is helpful, and then there are places to continue it. Like, a few years ago, the state of California started an app for every person ages 13 to 25 to get free mental health care. And most people didn't even know about that. And so I've seen a bunch of people being like, we need to get free therapy for kids. And I'm like, well, it already exists.
Yeah.
It's called Soluna, by the way. And
Soluna?
Yeah, Soluna. And there's all kinds of resources there. So some stuff has already been built in the state that can actually help people.
I had something I wanted to say.
I can go.
Okay, yeah.
Well, like I kind of want to touch back more because we talked about like how our community, like each other, has really like stepped up, but also like I saw like communities that are way farther out stepping up too. Like Mexico sent in some of their firefighters, and that was really shocking and like really impressive to me that like people have so much empathy and they're capable of so much empathy. And I think sometimes we forget, like because of like America's borders, we forget like those people are like also people who, and they're not just like far away people like that country. They're actual people there who like empathize for us and like really like want to help, and I thought that was really cool.
It's also around the country too.
Yeah.
Like I've had so many people reach out from different states being like, I would like to organize a book drive because so many schools lost their libraries.
Yeah.
To rebuild libraries. So can you put me in touch with someone who can like let us know the need, and then we can organize an entire book drive from another state and then ship the new library to the elementary school or to the middle school or whatever else it is. So it is really great to see how many people do want to help out in times of need, and we saw that with the hurricanes in North Carolina and all that other stuff. So it's helpful.
Yeah, I remember a lot of like my camp friends reached out because a lot of them live in like Arizona or like San Francisco, just around the like country, and they're like, "Are you guys okay?" Like, and I was like, I also thought it was like just kind of crazy that other people like heard about it so fast.
Even like my pen pal, like in our Chinese class, we're all having pen pals from Taiwan, and even she messaged me and was like, "Are you okay out there?" I was like, and she's like, "Are you burning?" I was like, "I'm not burning, it's okay." But yeah, I think like we gotta reconnect with some like new or like old friends that have become new. So some of my elementary school friends that I kind of forgot existed reached out, and now we're gonna go out to breakfast, and that was a great opportunity.
Yeah, like. Yeah, but I think a big part of this is just like community and everyone getting together.
Yeah. Do you want to do a little recap for us?
Sure. So basically, I got a buzz. Katie's happy we're back in school. Mr. Zabo, what was your high?
My high was the pending book deal.
Book deal.
Oh my god. So impressive.
Yeah. And basically, we talked about any response is okay. Any response is normal. How you cope is like sort of relative to yourself. Let me think. We also talked about how community is really important and how everyone is empathizing, and
it's just tough. But we'll put in the description whatever Saluna and any other sort of resources we can find for you guys. Keep on keeping on.
The last thing I would say is like your generation has already been through so much. You went through COVID and online school. You went through all these other changes, especially in this city, and you do have a lot of resilience. I know that some people check out and are just like, well, whatever, like I'm going to shut down. But overall, if you think about what your generation has already experienced, like you've gone through a lot. You have coping skills, you have communication, you have ways to reach out to each other, and a lot of young people really are on the front lines of mental health because you are honest with each other. You're not honest all the time with the adults in your life. So whatever you can do to like get resources, make sure you're checking in, make sure you're taking care of yourselves is important, because you know far more about what's happening with mental health than the adults do.
Oh, I remember what I was gonna say. Like in this. Quick, very brief. Like in the time of like community, when you were talking about forgetting, like I was thinking it's sort of like a oxygen mask first before others kind of scenario, which like it does kind of suck, but like also just like to take care of yourself, then you can help others. Yeah.
Well said. Well, thank you, Mr. Zabo, for spending the morning
with us. Yeah, thank you so much, Mr.
Talking
Zabo.
on this. Read his book.
That's crazy.
Awesome.
Well, keep on keeping on, guys.
Yeah, keep on keeping on, guys.
You got this.
Love you.
Bye.
Oh, please.